be
is gonna
using the
be
Tennessee State Tigers, and I'm giving myself 8 seasons to win it all. But if I end up falling short of
part
reaching that goal,
2
I'll be giving away
of
yet
the
another
best
jersey to a random commenter. To make it even
football
harder on
team.
myself, I can only go
Yeah,
after 3-star recruits
I
or
was
below,
already
and
in
I'm
a
starting
game.
without
I
a
was
single
just
player on the
starting
roster.
it.
That means we have to build a
So
starting lineup
yeah,
from
we
this recruiting
lost.
class, and if you're wondering
We're
what conference
playing
we're
on
in, I decided to put us in the
extreme.
Sun Belt
So
with Middle
yeah,
Tennessee State. Obviously, I have a ton of gaps that I need to fill, but
we got a
fortunately, there are a lot of people
5-star
that want to come here
team. So
because it is guaranteed playing time. After weeks of searching all over, I think I have found our future quarterback, at least for the next 2 seasons. If we can get him, as Daniel Marks is a 78 overall quarterback. Now, the downside is he is a JUCO, but I think those types of players will be crucial for us to have success early on, like Joshua Sullivan, 77 overall corner. By week 6, I'm proud to announce that I've already been able to get 4 different players to commit, but I still have an entire roster to fill, so I'm going to be looking for a lot more guys. The reason for that is I'll find studs like Leroy Manning, who has 95 speed and is 6'5". Unfortunately, as time goes on, it looks like we're going to end up losing him to Army, but I found JUCO John Newsom to replace him instead, and pretty much everybody else just wants to come here for all of the playing time. For starting from scratch, it's definitely going better than I thought it would, as by week 12, I already have 13 players committed to the program. You know, I was a little worried with how this would go, but then I went over the transfer requests, and there are 7 new players that want to come play for our HBCU. Now, because the game is so old, they have to sit out for a year before they can play for Tennessee State, which is actually going to hurt us in the short term because they came in and took all of our scholarships. So even though there's all these amazing guys we could potentially get, I can only go for a final 2. I wish you could get more than 25 players in a recruiting class in this game, but that's just not the way it is. And even though I should still be really happy with this class, I'm very disappointed we missed out on an additional 7 guys. If I'm being completely honest, having all of these transfers is just going to hurt us, but only in the short term because in the long run, they're going to develop extremely well. Since they're not able to step onto the field this year, I can redshirt most of them, and I'm actually surprised we're already 70 overall. I'd assume that's because the game is counting these transfers even though they can't play, but you know what, we're still off to a great start, and I don't know why number 1 Alabama is on the schedule, but I think we all know how this is going to go. We might lose by 60, and we almost did. To lift some spirits though, I'm going to have to show you all recruiting where I found Martin Bush, who is definitely going to be our quarterback of the future. Also, the team overall updated, and we are a 55, so that's a little more realistic as we can expect to pretty much lose every game this season. I just don't see us ever winning, and by week 7, I hate to say this, but we're sitting at 0-6. This entire season's focus is just going to be on recruiting, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of my focus is going just towards JUCOs because I want to be able to get this team competitive next year if possible. The one game I will be stepping into is the Middle Tennessee State one, and I think we all know how it's going to go. Welcome to Hale Stadium, the home of the Tigers, and even though we're probably going to lose, I'm happy with how this has gone. We're going into the 4th down by 7, and even though they're definitely going to be able to get in here, I'm proud of the fight that we were able to put up. The main issue has just been the offense, but Marks has been good at quarterback, making a lot of plays, so I'm hoping that next year as a JUCO senior, he's going to be able to help us get our first win at Tennessee State in this dynasty. Hopefully one day we'll be able to beat our rivals, but at least for now, I'm just happy that I've been able to get all of these guys to commit because I think we're going to have a special class coming up. As long as we're this competitive, I'm going to be happy, and I'm having no issues at all finding great quarterbacks, as Nate Wallace is also a 75 gem. I can't say I'm surprised that we're going to finish season 2 without a single win, but the annoying part is I'm going to get fired because of it. We're already on to Eddie George, number 2, and now I have to start all over and leveling up our head coach. The good news is nobody's leaving the team, and we're also still getting transfers, so I'm satisfied with that. This year, I'm hoping that we're not going to have to start any walk-ons, but I'm disappointed to see that on signing day, we didn't get Nate Wallace or the kicker that I wanted. We still finished with a top 50 class, so I guess I can't really complain, but I just realized Mike Smith is a 4-star recruit, so I'm going to have to cut him. At least our offensive line is going to be really good, as I made sure to go after enough to have a full starting lineup, and after moving some people around, I think this team next year is going to be pretty good. All of those transfers that we got are now going to be able to step onto the field, and I'm not happy that I have to cut Mike Smith, but the rules are I can't go after 4 stars. The restrictions I put in my videos definitely makes it harder, but that's okay because I'm about to search for some game-breaking players. If I can get a 6'5" wide receiver that runs a 4.3, that'd be insane, and all we need is one of these 3 guys to be a gem to have an amazing receiver, and after taking a look at these 3, I think we're going to have to go after PJ Baldwin with 96 speed. I also found a punter that runs a 4.36, which could be a ton of fun, and even though we're projected to finish last in our division, I'm happy with how this is going. We jumped from a 55 overall to a 79, and I'm almost certain that's the largest jump we've ever had in a rebuild. 2 years ago, I started this roster from scratch, and now we might have a chance to beat Memphis, which we are not going to do in overtime, but I believe the future is bright anyway because we're in the league for the 93 speed punter. If we're able to get even a couple wins this year, I'm going to be incredibly happy with this team as we get our first one, and I highly doubt we're going to upset Louisville on the road, but it would have been awesome if we could have. The first game I'm going to jump into is going to be against Nicholls State, and to be honest, I'm expecting an easy win, but I guess you never know with this team. Well, it turns out recruiting JUCO Daniel Marks was a very good decision because he's allowed us to have a good season, and I am trying some trickery here with Chad Alexander out of Wildcat, where he's going to juke 2 people out, break a tackle, and get in. He's our backup halfback, but he's been filling in extremely well since Corey Wren is hurt, and look at Marks go. If he has just enough speed, he's going to be able to make this 35-7, and I'm glad to see that we're already not struggling against FCS schools. Yeah.
Unlike some hearts, Reese's don't taste like desperation.
Okay.
Valentine's Day.
That was a great game.
Dad, I'm cold.
Okay, I'll turn the heat on. Control your climate remotely with complimentary.
Daniel Marks definitely made his mark on this game, and I'm proud to say we're sitting at 500 on the year. I can't believe I'm this obsessed over a 1-star, but the 93-speed punter has committed, and I can't wait to see all the trick plays that we're able to run with him. In Week 7 against Louisiana, I have a lot of people visiting, and if we're able to land all of these guys, I think that's going to make a major difference. I just have to hope that the sim goes well. Come on, boys. We are at home, and we get blown out. Despite getting railed in our last visit week, I set up more people to come against Old Dominion, and this time we're going to lose again, but it didn't stop Nate Harris and Fred Jordan from committing. It seems like we're starting to fall off of a cliff, but I am going to have to play Middle Tennessee State next, and if we can beat our rivals, I'd consider this a successful season. I know they aren't really in real life, but for the purpose of this video, they are, and I love these red jerseys from Tennessee State. I'm not entirely sure if they actually have them in real life, but they were a part of this mod, and look at Marks go scrambling out of the pocket because nobody else was open all the way down to the 5, and this year, this game is a lot more of an even matchup than it was previously, and look at Chad Alexander go pushing his way in. With 4 minutes left in the third quarter, I am going for it on 4th and 7, and after escaping outside the pocket, Marks is going to throw a dime. So I felt like we were starting to get control of this game, but ever since then, it's gone bad. Middle Tennessee State has just been pounding the rock, and I just missed that tackle, and nobody's able to bring him down. That was such a fluky touchdown, but they have sent nobody at us, as I have all the time in the world, so I just need to sit back in the pocket, make a read, and after waiting a long time, I have finally found somebody. Look at Nelson going all the way down the field, and he's going to get down to about 15. I'm not quite sure how I want to handle this situation yet. I wanted to burn clock, but I'm not so sure about it now. I think the smartest thing to do would just be get into the end zone quick, and then hopefully come away with a defensive stop, but it is not looking very likely, except I should have picked that ball and the game didn't animate on it. I'm not happy about it, but at least we're able to hold them to 3, and because we lost out on that kicker to Syracuse in the offseason, I don't have one, so I really need to go for a touchdown here, which is going to be almost impossible. It all comes down to this one Hail Mary, and I'm not even going to get the throw off. Maybe next year we'll beat the Blue Raiders, but for now I'm just frustrated, as we're also going to probably lose out on the best 2 players on our board. It's nice to see that we beat James Madison, but we aren't going to get Philip Keenan, and we ended the season taking back-to-back L's. Once again, we're sitting at the bottom of our division in the Sun Belt, and I'm pretty frustrated because one of our best freshman tackles is transferring out. Fortunately, someone's immediately coming in to replace him, and I have to say, I've gotten more transfers at Tennessee State than any other rebuild I've ever done. However, because I lost out on the top players on our board, we ended up finishing with the 67th class, which seems bad on paper, but I think all of these guys are still going to develop pretty well. I'm thrilled to say that the offense should be in good hands in the future, as Marcus Walters is 73 halfback, and Ronald Downs ends up turning into 77 wide receiver. Additionally, one of the transfers is already a 90 overall.
I hate
Bush,
this
our
game.
starting freshman quarterback,
Guys,
is a
I'm
79.
absolutely
With all the
done
red shirts
playing
that I'm doing, our
'cause there's
defensive line
no-
in the future is going to probably be the best in the conference by far, and the quality of players that want to come here is starting to get a little bit better. I'm also proud to announce that we are not projected to be the worst team in our conference, as our rivals are instead. And we might have a rough season, but the game seems to think that we might